Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year and welcome to the first Gold Coast Riders meeting of 2018. Really pleased to see some new faces here. So whether it's to be here to listen to the gorgeous Samuel or learn a lot about audiobooks, we're really pleased to see you all. Fantastic. I've got a bit of news I'd like to share. First off, we got a Christmas card all the way from Wales, and it was from one of the founding members, because the Gold Coast Riders Association has been around for many, many moons. So I thought I'd just share this with you. To everyone at the Gold Coast Riders Association, wishing you all the best at this wonderful time of year. Regards, Mary McLaren, founder. So important we recognise where this all started with people like Mary, and there's a few other founders around too that still have a part to play in our association. Anybody that has joined or applied for a new membership over recent weeks and you haven't received an email yet, you probably have. It may have gone into your spam folder. So if you're looking for something from us to confirm your membership, please check your spam folder, because we have had a couple of people tell us they found it in there. We have an application for a webmaster. As part of the committee, we're looking for someone to manage the website. At the moment, we've decided to download it all to Susan, our Vice President, but she needs some assistance. So if anybody is interested in working with a WordPress site, please come and see either myself or Sam or Marisa or any of the crew at the back and let us know, okay? You don't have to put your hand up right now. We also had some interesting letters come in the mail. People still write letters nowadays, which is wonderful. And we've gotten some interest by a potential writer for someone to help write his memoirs. So he's looking for an elderly woman who can understand obviously the time that he's lived and know those years. So if you think you've got a bit of an interest in writing a memoir or helping someone write a memoir, please go and see Beverly at the back at some point. She'll be able to give you some information. That's her with her hand up. She'll be able to give you some information and we'll spread the word, okay, and let this guy know. And we get a lot of inquiries like that, where how can you help me write my story? And that's what we're here to do, to support each other in their writing. Okay, we've got some awesome news to tell you. As members of the Gold Coast Riders Association, you possibly can't make it to every meeting, or we've got members that aren't even in the Gold Coast. So what we're doing is we're recording today, and we're recording every meeting we have. And all members will have a member's access to the website to watch these presentations, the workshops, the seminars. So if you cannot make it, don't worry, you're not going to miss out. That'll also give you access to the newsletter in a bit more of a flowing format, so you can see it on the site as well. And we're always looking for more innovative ways to be able to meet your needs at any point during your membership. And you want to see or hear something that's going to fit in with your writing and what you want to achieve, you just need to let us know. We'll sit down, we'll bounce out some ideas, and we'll be able to meet your needs, guaranteed. Okay, it's time to tell you what's happening today. First, we're going to have our gorgeous young Sammy. He's going to come up, and he's going to tell us a little bit about, I've got to read my notes, excuse me. This is Foundation Wordstones #1. It's a new idea that we've decided to introduce at the start of every meeting to help you guys as fiction writers, whoever is writing fiction, to develop some of your skills. And today, Sammy's going to be talking about past and present tenses. He's going to do a bit of a presentation, a bit of Q&A, see how you guys feel. Then after that, I'm going to be presenting a bit of a seminar on audiobooks, and we've got a pre-recorded interview with a producer that we're going to share with you. And we're actually going to call in a couple of people, one from Singapore, one from Melbourne. They're going to be on the screen, and you guys are going to be able to ask these two authors, fiction and non-fiction, any questions you like. I've already prepped them with a few of them, so that they can give you insight from authors that have already recorded and published their audiobook. And of course, we're going to have afternoon tea, so that's all good. So let's get started. Samuel!
How is everyone today? On this fine, beautiful, really hot day. I hope it's actually going to be cooling down in a second. We just have to turn on the air conditioning again. So again, what Ocean just talked about was I'm up here talking about past and present tense. Now, not talking about POV, so point of view. This is more about what verbs we use, what adverbs and things like this. This actually came about because I just finished my book, which is just about to come out of print, Lake Mirren. And I wrote it all in present tense, not meaning to. It wasn't I went out of my way and went, oh, I'm going to write a book in present tense. No, I just did it because it felt right. And when I started going into promotional mode in a couple of my groups, and I put up and went, hey, here's my book. Read my first couple of chapters. Let's see how we go. And then I started finding out that present tense is actually a bit of a taboo subject. It's not something that people can like to read. People flat out not read if it's in present tense. So I just thought, oh, this is a little bit weird, and I might do a little bit of research. I got a little bit, sort of get taken back a bit, and you go, hang on a second, how about if I take a breath, do a little bit of research, because I'd never actually done research in the different types of tenses. Obviously, there are 3 types of tenses, but no one writes in future tense. It's very, very rare, and even then, in the article that I found, they actually say if it does happen, it has to be a very particular type of writer. The article that I actually got, that I'm basing a lot of this on, is by Joe Bunton. Basically talking about what sort of tense is right for you. Now I have to go first up. The thing about tenses, it's not about how your book will sell, it's how you actually create your book. It's about what suits it. What sort of tense, what sort of point of view suits your story. Non-fiction or fiction, it doesn't really matter. It's all about that sort of, all about that. Now obviously there's positives and negatives for using either past or present tense. There was an example in the thing which is actually about past and present. Obviously, not everyone can read this, so I'm going to be calling this out. So this is the past version. From the safety of his youth, John watched as his beloved house burned to the ground. With a blank face, he drove away. Now that's the past tense, and this is in present tense. From the safety of his youth, John watches as his beloved house burns to the ground. With a blank face, he drives away. It's very subtle, but it's the fact that just different words, different types of things. It's the difference between past and present is when you talk, you're sort of relaying a story, like in past. It's like, this has happened. I'm going to talk about this. The ability to jump from one point to another is also another bonus about past tense. One of the bonus things about present tense is the emotion. You can get emotionally involved. What's happening is happening right now. And which goes into, but unfortunately, time jumping, things like this, you have limited choices of words that you can actually use, obviously when you're using present tense. Actually, this was one thing, I came, I saw, I conquered. I come, I see, I conquered. Now, when I looked at that, I was just like, I prefer the past version of that. It just feels really weird saying the present version of that. It's like, I come, I see, I conquered. It's just like, okay, it's it's just like it feels like it's a little bit too much future. It's going to happen. While I come, I saw, I conquered. It's just like, oh, wow. So there are a lot of fine authors who have actually done present tense books. The Bleak House by Charles Dickens is all in present tense. Ulysses, which is actually done in a very particular type of POV as well, which is quite similar to mine, which is called Stream of Consciousness, is all in present tense. And that's the thing it's a very unique style of writing. Fight Club by Chuck, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, but Fight Club was actually written in present tense as well. Present tense has a theatrical, a film type of feel to it. Hunger Games was written in present tense. A lot of dystopian sci-fi young adults now are becoming more becoming more like they're written in present tense, because it's the moment, it's that emotion, that drive as it happens. Now, obviously, there's advantages and disadvantages for present and past tense. Obviously, the advantages of present tense is it feels like a movie. It's happening now. You're there. You're in the moment. It's, you sort of, something happens. You go, oh, you just get swept up into the emotions, which is another thing. Present tense intensifies emotions. So when it's happening, it's just like you're there. It's amazing. It's like, it is like watching a film. But the drawback about it is, you can't just turn back and just take a step back. You can't just do things like this. Present tense works well with deep point of view, which is another brilliant thing. Present tense works best in short time frame stories with constant action. So if something's happening over about 24, 48 hours, present tense is a very good way of actually talking about that. But if you're doing it over years, weeks, months, years, it isn't the best way. Present tense lends itself well to unreliable narrators, people who get distracted while you're writing the book. The narrator might get distracted. It might not actually be perfect. It's things like this. The drawback about present tense: some readers hate it. Now, when they say some, it's the vast majority. If you're looking at marketability, present tense is not the best way of actually doing it. But please do not ever be frightened of, if it suits your story. If you're writing a story that lasts over a couple of days and you really want that intense grabbing the reader and just dragging them along, present tense might be the best way for you. But it's not, but you have to understand marketability. There are a lot of people out there who just will refuse point blank to read present tense novels. Present tense is less flexible. Time shifts can be awkward. I have found this, and I'm actually going to be finding this very different in my second book. So Lake Mirren, it's very good. It's over about 4 days. I can keep up with it. Unfortunately, in the next book, there's going to be time jumps. There's going to be long distance, and I can't travel through that. So I have to figure out a way to circumvent that and still keep in present tense to keep the first book and second book and the future books continuous. So that's a little bit of a drawback for myself. No or little narration. So you can't just turn around and just talk to the reader. You can't just go, okay, this, getting some information out. This is also another thing which past tense actually has issues with. This is a drawback about past. Everyone knows about show and tell, show, don't tell. With present tense, it comes a lot naturally to show because you're in the moment. In past tense, it's the opposite. You have a tendency to actually move towards telling the reader what's happening. And that itself can actually be quite daunting for that, and you sort of have to go, okay, I have to stop, I have to go, how can I break this up? Break it up with dialogue, break it up with, emotional scenes and things like this. And the final one is, unfortunately, like I did say before, present tense is limited. I have heard this a lot with a lot of writers, especially with this group, when they were talking about it. And they were talking about that present tense itself allows, like they were talking about the different types of verbs. You have only a set amount of verbs that you can use in present tense. While in past tense, you can use present tense, past tense, future tense. So you have a lot more choices about what you can and can't do. There are ways of actually combining the two, but that is more when you're breaking the fourth wall. Does everyone know what the fourth wall is? Okay, fourth wall is where you realize you're in a story. This is a story, and I am now talking directly to the reader as the character realizes they're in a story, and they will break it. They'll break out of the story and talk directly there and they actually know they're actually in that story. This is certain ways of doing it. Deadpool is actually a comic book character. He does this a lot in his comic books. It's actually one of his favorite things. but it doesn't work with everyone. It doesn't work. You can't just do that. Like we're writing a memoir and breaking out of it. You could actually break out of it and talk directly to the reader, because technically you are the character, and it's changing from you being the scribe of the story to the actual person in the story. Now, what I was basically going to do today is I was going to actually go, it's only going to be a short, quick thing. I was going to go, let's try to write a bit of present tense. Let's write about 100 words of something of your choice. You don't have to do it, or we can actually do a general discussion where you're actually writing in present tense, something about your hobbies or something about today, like even driving here, or even things like this, where 100 words, nothing about a paragraph, and basically you're just allowing you to experience the now, writing in the now, not in the past. Don't say I noticed this happened to someone. It's like, I noticed it happened. I was there. It happened to me. Now, unless you, it's sort of like made a sort of like I didn't know how many people actually will have pens and paper with them. Like every good writer should actually have something sort of like that. So basically, what I will do is say for the next 10 minutes, everyone just give it a bit of a go. And if you like, at the end of it, this is purely just for yourself. This is just getting used to something like this. Getting used to actually writing things in present and past tense. And maybe even at another time, after you write it in present tense, write it then, rewrite it in past. See how it changes. See how it actually changes at the delivery of the writing that you're doing. So that's basically it. It's like everyone just... We can share it, we can do whatever, it's up to individuals. Just, so anything, it's about anything. So it doesn't have to be, it could be about a hobby of yours. It could be that, but it should be in the moment. I'll do a little bit of a read from my book, give you guys a bit of an idea. Like, it's, what is that in his hand? Is he going to throw it at me? He is. That crazy gnome is about to throw some concoction at me. I started to jump out of the way as Gunnar grabs his arm and throat and says, "Not now, you fool." He turns back to me. Sorry about that. He gets a bit excited when he leaves the basement. Wants to show off all his toys. Wait, what could Claps in? How will he understand if he doesn't see it firsthand? It's truly the path, as you need to walk it. So he rips his hand out of Gunnar's grips and throws the concoction at me. What that is doing is just like it's just like being in that moment, being in the time. That probably might not be the best example, as I just randomly flick to the page. But being in that moment is very important. And being very concentrated in the now, when it is happening. So instead of I am seeing this, I saw. Basically. Watches instead of watched, if everyone understands what the different. And that's the thing is, you don't really realize it until you start writing. It's like, what sort of tense are you going to actually be writing in? Well, thank you very much for the first little foundation. We're going to be doing one of these every beginning of every meeting. Different fundamental things. So instead of having a big hour-long workshop, just like a 20-minute workshop, just to go over a couple of choice bits of information. So thank you very much for listening.